The Fiat 500 family has grown again. What started as a pretty successful resurrection of an iconic 50s name has now spawned a convertible, a whole bunch of performance options, and an MPV. And now, a crossover. And just like it's expanded the 500 family range, it's also helped grow the very popular crossover segment, where Nissan, Opel, VW and Mazda all have contenders. We took a steady drive through the Western Cape in the middle of the range cross-spec model to find out its take on the crossover theme. Styling-wise, this car shares quite a lot in common with its competition. Slightly raised stance, a hatchback shape, and a general demeanour that suggests it could take on less than perfect roads. But it also uses its 500 genes to good effect to add real character. In doing so, though, it's also strayed into the styling territory of another resurrection of an iconic name, the Mini. The rear is the most prominent example of just how similar the two can look. That aside, and by comparison to its direct competition, the 500X does offer a slightly different approach in terms of styling. It's a chunky-looking thing that has instant appeal. Inside, there are a lot of obvious 500 traits, some elements that you might recognize from other members of the family, and the extended family. Aircon controls from an Alfa Romeo, steering wheel from a Jeep. But besides that, it is very well put together with a great sense of space. There's also a mix of some superb elements. The dashboard is a dark grey, slightly rough textured panel. There are aluminium inserts in the doors and centre console. The plastics are good and the seats are a particularly nice design. Spec-wise, our 345,000 Rand test car offered good value with dual-zone climate control, cruise control, Bluetooth, keyless operation and the Uconnect infotainment system, which uses a decent touchscreen interface. The interior space feels a little bigger than the exterior suggests. It's particularly nice in the back with good head and shoulder room. Boot space is adequate but a little small when compared to most of its competition. The 500X will only be available with petrol engines. We've got the 1.4 litre turbo with a 6-speed manual, although there will be a dual-clutch gearbox option available in limited numbers as well. The 103 kilowatts and 240 newton meters feel fairly good. It's got good power off the line, decent overtaking ability, although I'm not sure I'd want any less power in this car. And I say that because coming late September is a 1.6 litre naturally aspirated motor with less power and less torque than the 1.4 turbo. And I wouldn't be surprised if that motor took away a fair chunk of the enjoyment of this car. The ride setup takes a little bit of getting used to. It is confident in the corners, but it can feel a little bit bouncy at times. If I had to pick a weak point in this car, that would be it. It's not unbearable, but it's certainly not as good as something like our long-term Opel Mokka. But to be fair, we haven't found a crossover yet that can offer a drive as good as the Mokka. Since we had the Western Cape and its mountains at our disposal, we thought a small amount of dirt driving wouldn't hurt. The 6-speed manual in the 500X matches the motor perfectly, with the smooth, easy action that gets the best out of the engine. Just like all good crossovers should, the 500X offers a measure of off-road driving ability, or at least it promises to. It's got a traction mode which helps with grip in slippery conditions, and that's just one of the selectable options in what Fiat calls driving moods. And while there's not much difference to be felt with traction mode, mood active, selecting the sport mood makes a definite difference with an instantaneous increase in power. The downside is that it then becomes very happy to torque steer itself from pull-off, but it's not completely unmanageable. Besides, the grip from that same front end is pretty impressive otherwise, so it's easy to forgive it that particular shortcoming. The Fiat 500X isn't just another extrapolation of the 500 recipe, it's a good car in its own right. It's got a good engine, comfortable cabin and decent spec. The ride setup may not be as good as its competition, but it more than makes up that by having a lot more character than the rest. 1.4-litre turbo petrol and 6-speed manual gearbox work perfectly together in the 500X. Decent power and good grip means it can be an enjoyable drive even on longer journeys. The 500X offers character in its looks and a well-designed, comfortable interior. The ride setup is a little unrefined though, and it will torque steer if you're too enthusiastic on pull-off.